What's up, everybody? Welcome to NBA Crunch Time. We got the same duo back that we had this morning. I'm your host, TJ Zorich. We're not sure where Chief is at the moment, but hopefully he is going to be joining us here shortly. But if not, we can handle this ourselves. We got a big monster slate, lots to talk about. Joined by my guy, Shiver Me Timbo, Tasteful Tides, Tim Buell. How you doing today, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, TJ. Definitely a little bit disappointed. I did not play Xavier Worthy. I think that Kansas City little mini stack's going to kill me in the football slate. I'm hoping to make it back in the NBA and NHL streets tonight.
Yeah, hoping to do well in NBA as well. NFL didn't quite go my way so far, but we got some stuff that looks decent, and I'm hoping will look better by the time this game is over. I did have a lot of Xavier Worthy, which I feel good about. Did not have any Tank Dell, so that's going to be what is holding me back today. Happy holidays to all those who are watching. Happy Hanukkah, happy Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate. Happy and merry to all of you. People asking, Alexander, you ready to make that money tonight? Yes, absolutely, and always. People are saying they got a lot of wind where they're living. I don't feel bad for any of you. I got cold and wind. Whatever it is where you are, it's colder and windier here. But enough with the jokes. Let's break down this slate because we got a whole lot to talk about. We'll do this sort of Grinders live style, I think, going game by game, starting things off with a 11-game slate. Sheesh. How are you attacking this slate tonight?
Yeah, so there's only one 7:00 game. So outside of Hawkheads on FanDuel, I think I'm going to be completely fading this early game. It's a really, really bad spot for fantasy points, a very, very low over and under. It's not really simming that well. So this Miami Orlando game to me, like you could take shots on Jalen Suggs, I think in large field. I think you could take shots maybe on Tyler Hero, but outside of Hawkeyes on FanDuel, I think I'm pretty much skipping this 7:00 game and just trying to backload a little bit. We still have some news that it's going to be important. We've got some of it already, but I think there's more news to come. So definitely, I think I'm going to be trying to backload a little bit here.
All right. I couldn't agree more. I'm doing the Hawkeyes lock on FanDuel on DraftKings as well. But other than that, I agree with you 100%. He's the only guy that I really feel like I need to play in this first game. And let's talk about it. It's Miami. It's Orlando. It's pretty gross other than Jaime Hawkeyes. There's not a lot that I really feel like we need on the Miami. Like it's a low total despite the close spread. I am considering Nikola Jovic as a super low-owned salary saver on DraftKings. I'm considering Tyler Hero at 7,200 over there. But outside of that, I don't want to play anybody on Miami outside of Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I mean, I did say on FanDuel I was going to play Hawkeyes. You could definitely play him on DK as well at 3,800. I do think that I'm going to be fading him on DK, but I'm not 100% sure yet. But still, and same thing goes on DK. Tyler Hero at 7,200. I think he's okay as well. I think Bam is decent on DK, but still, I'm just again, I'm going to be focusing on the later games.
Yeah, that is my exact same thoughts as well on the Orlando side of things. We are still waiting on the Suggs news. That could open some stuff up. But even still, maybe like a Cole Anthony on DK. But even if Suggs is out, and I guess probably FanDuel as well. But I plan to just X out this whole Orlando side of things. Next one at 7:30, Utah and Brooklyn. Utah is all of a sudden looking healthier. They are without Keontae George tonight. Maybe that opens up some Sexton or Clarkson. Do you have any interest in Utah?
I do a little bit. I actually like John Collins the best out of all the Jazz players. 7,100 power forward center eligible. I don't mind getting to some Sexton or Clarkson, but they're not priority plays for me. I also like John Collins on FanDuel as well. So I think Collins is my play for Utah. Yeah, I mean, I think Clarkson, if you want one of the guards from Utah, I think Clarkson's probably the play. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Sexton. So I think I would go Clarkson if I had to go one of these Utah guards.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning to. He's the cheapest of the bunch. He projects decently. I don't love the projected ownership he's getting right now, but still, I think Clarkson would be the one I'm most interested in as well. On the Brooklyn side, Simmons looks all right. Johnson looks all right. They're going to be without Dorian Finney-Smith for this one, but I don't think I really care. Like, I just don't really. There's so many high upside spots tonight. I don't feel like this one is one of them.
Oh yeah, I'm completely with you. Losing DFS really is not that big of a deal. It's just more minutes to spread around, not really much more usage. So I don't think that's really that big of a thing. Getting to a little bit of Simmons on FanDuel and Claxton on FanDuel, but on DK this game, outside of maybe some Cameron Johnson, I don't have a whole lot of interest in the Brooklyn side.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. No Brooklyn Nets for me tonight. I do understand if you want to take a shot on a Keon Johnson or a Jalen Williams just because of that Finney-Smith news, but I think we just have better value tonight. We're definitely going to be spending more time on some of these games than others, and one of them that we'll be spending more time on is the Memphis Grizzlies at the Atlanta Hawks. No Ja Morant, no Trae Young. We got value. We got 8K, mid-K range. This is my favorite game on the slate by far.
Yeah, this is the most important game on the slate. I'm pretty sure. Like, no matter like what news comes or doesn't come, I think that this game is by far the most important. It's a 237 total. It's a very, very tight spread. Plenty of really, really strong value. Losing losing Young on the other side. I mean, that's going to open up so much usage on both sides of this game. I think game stacks of this game are really, really in play, like, firmly in play. And I think Marcus Smart is questionable as well, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I mean, that's another piece that could potentially drop for Memphis. So yeah, I mean, obviously Scottie Pippen is like your priority play, especially on DK at 3,600. Like, I wouldn't even. I'd probably. He's projected for 63%. I would consider lock buttoning him. If I was playing 150, I would certainly lock button him in a 3 max setting, a 20 max setting. Absolutely, I'd be lock buttoning Scottie Pippen Jr. So not as much as a priority on FanDuel, but still an extremely strong play over there. I love Desmond Bane as well. I love that he's shooting guard, small forward eligible. He's 6'6". So I mean, he's priced really cheaply, and with no Morant, he should see a pretty nice usage increase. So Desmond Bane I like quite a bit, and then Jaren Jackson, actually, I think he gets the highest usage bump with no Morant on the court. So at 7,400, I think he's a really, really strong play. And then Zach Edey, I think he's fine as well at 4,700, just because he should be matching up with Capella. So I would imagine Edey's going to be able to pay off that $4,700 price tag pretty easily. So outside of Jalen Wells, I like all the projected starters for Memphis. And then on the Atlanta side, DeAndre Hunter and Jalen Johnson are my 2 favorite plays overall, but Dyson Daniels is rating out really well in Sims right now. We just got a Sims update, and he's getting the most positive leverage of any point guard. So I'm hoping that that ownership is up to date. I'm not sure if it is or not, but either way, I think he's a fantastic play. So I would rate them Hunter, Johnson, Daniels, and then we got to talk about Bogdanovich off the bench. He should be playing pretty big minutes here. I would imagine that he's going to be getting over 30 minutes in this matchup, which is fantastic. He should be coming in for Ricochet, I would imagine. So Bogdanovich at 4,600, just don't forget about him. He's probably not going to start, but that doesn't mean we can't play him in DFS. He's a really, really strong play on both DK and FanDuel. So I really like Bogdanovich today. I think he's one of the better points per dollar values.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm playing so much of this game, it's crazy. I'm playing on draft. I'm playing 150 lineups on DraftKings, not any on FanDuel. But I have 73% Dyson Daniels, 67% Jalen Johnson, 59% DeAndre Hunter, 30% Bogdanovich, 28% Larry Nance, 27% Ricochet, 11% Capella. I even have 5% Vit Krejci, just because he's been playing like a few minutes here and there lately. And so I even threw him into a lineup or two. And then on the other side, I lock button Scottie Pippen, $3,800 on DraftKings or $3,600 on DraftKings, just so cheap. 39% Jaren Jackson Jr., 20% Bane, 11% Wells, 10% Edie, 10% Aldama, 10% Larivia. I just want to get access to this whole game. I'm going to have at least 3 Atlanta players in every lineup, at least 2 Memphis players in every lineup. Every single thing I do today will be a game stack of this. If it busts, I'm busting today. And that's just going to be how it works. But massive, massive priority this game is. We will after we go game by game because we're speedy. We're going to have time to go position by position after. We'll cover both FanDuel and DraftKings at the same time. But don't worry, we will tell you who the cash core is. And then we'll get some QQs after that. Make sure if you're watching us on YouTube, you smash that like button. Help us get those eyes going. It's weekend free content on a Saturday. So make sure you smash that like button for us. Help us battle the YouTube algorithm. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good jazz, because you don't want to miss out on any of the shows that we have coming this weekend. Tim will be back first thing in the morning, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for Grinders Live with Dean. I'll be with Chief taking you right up to lock on crunch time. So hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. And also get yourself some access, since it's the busiest time in the sports calendar, to the RG combo, which means it's the perfect time to sign up. For a limited time, you can get your first month of combo access for $79.99. That's just $5 more. NBA Premium. Don't pass up this great value. If you don't want the full combo package, you can check out all the expert picks for all your favorite sites with Props and Pick'em. Our elite sports betting and fantasy pick'em package features bets and analysis from your favorite RotoGrinders experts. Props and Pick'em also includes tools and data powered by our hard-working projections team. Don't make a bet without it. And you can take those Props and Pick'em package. You can bring them over to Splash Sports. Use the quick picks code ROTO10 on the RotoGrinder on the splashsports.com/RotoGrinders homepage, and you can use all the Props and Pick'em stuff over there on their quick picks program. Josh Giddey has been ruled out, so they can bump things up a little bit for the Chicago guys. They're still not in a great spot against Boston, but Boston's in a pretty good spot. So if you want to play their players, they do look a little bit more decent as a run back now. A guy like Levine, Kobe White, Vooch. Let's go over to the next game here. A little less exciting. Philadelphia and Cleveland. On the Philadelphia side of things, Paul George is still listed as questionable. We got no Embiid for this one. Maxey could end up being a pretty interesting low-owned option here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really big piece of news that we have yet to receive. Maxey would end up being a really, really strong value. We would be projecting him for around 46 fantasy points in around 38 minutes. So he would rate out extremely well. Kelly Oubre would get a nice little bump as well. Definitely. But other than that, it's really just those two. If George were to sit, I wouldn't really get to any of the cheaper 76ers. So, I mean, that is an important piece of news to, look out for. I really don't have, if George plays, I don't really have any interest in any Philadelphia players. And honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to see, like, if I could get into any Cleveland, really. I mean, they are 10-point favorites. They have a 115 total, but the game is really, really simming quite poorly. Not sure. Yeah, I really don't think that I would get to much Cleveland really at all. I guess maybe Donovan Mitchell, but I think he would be really the only piece that I would take shots on. Maybe get like 1 out of 20 or something like that, like a pinch in like an MME set.
Yeah, I have Donovan Mitchell and
Giannis unlikely to play.
All right. Well, there's a little bit of a restart of everything we got for us, considering he was going to be about 50% owned on this slate. Might as well add Bobby Portis to my list of lock button plays today.
Yep.
Bump up. All right. What am I going to do here? I'll switch everybody exactly to my, just because I don't feel like waiting for projections to updates. I want to get my new set of lineups in. I'll show everybody exactly what I'm doing. So switching over to the DraftKings tab, I just X'd out Giannis out of my pool. I just updated, I just hit the lock button on Bobby Portis. What I'm going to do here is I boosted Brook Lopez's projection to about what I think it's going to be. Who else on this team might that make interesting?
Who on the Bucks?
Yeah, I guess I'll just wait for projections to update here because this is the Wizards. They probably are going to be interesting, but like, what do you think? Gary Trent, DeLon Wright, Taurean Prince, Andre Jackson, Connaughton. Do you think any of these guys are going to be of any interest?
Maybe. I mean, obviously, you're going to be locking in Bobby Portis now. He's only 5,300. Oh my word, yeah. He's going to be like 90% in like the $100 single entry stuff. He's going to be like, what would you say, like 60% in the lower dollar tournaments?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah. Other Bucks. Man, I wish I could count on more minutes from Middleton. I'm not really sure if we can yet, because he's only 5,200.
Like, with all the good value, do we really think Taurean Prince is gonna get us like 30 points tonight?
Yeah, I was more looking like Brook Lopez, perhaps,
yeah.
or Gary Trent Jr. It's pretty. I don't know. There's already really good cheap value on the slate. So outside of Portis, I don't think there's really going to be anyone that I'm like really jumping, to play. So I'm obviously going to wait to see what projections say, but I'm really just leaning Portis, and then possibly Gary Trent.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I just added Trent, Andre Jackson Jr., and Taurean Prince to the 150 max pool. I'm going to have a maximum of $2 in my lineup, and I have a lock button Bobby Portis. And so what that's going to allow me to do is just get a max one of those guys in my lineup, these salary saving options and Lopez here. I think I also want to potentially bump my Wizards exposure up to 2 players from that team in that game.
Yeah, Lord King Guru made a really good point in chat. Like this makes Washington more interesting now. So I think that's a really good call
Giannis, their defense is not as good without Giannis.
Exactly. So I think Sar at 5,500, he's got that power forward center eligibility. I think he makes for a much, much better play now. And I think he'll go really low owned. I don't mind Champagny, and then I think this spot improves quite a bit for Jordan Poole as well. So I think the Wizards do become a much more viable team to get to in larger field GPPs. Likely, I will not be getting to them in single entry, but I think if you were making a portfolio of teams, Washington has definitely entered the chat.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Couldn't agree more. I think I got to mix up one of my rules here because it's not letting me do something, but let's see. We'll go now that this extra value is opened up. I'm in 1 Memphis, drop it to 2 Atlanta, and then there. That should allow me to get some lineups here. All right, let's go to the next game. After all that breaking news, New York at New Orleans. New Orleans side of things, they're relatively healthy outside of Brandon Ingram, who's going to be out for a while. I don't think I need somebody on like an Yves Misi. Maybe Misi is fine, but he's shown a ceiling. But with just all the value in such a big slate, I don't think I get there. Anybody on the New York side of things you like?
I will say that I was really surprised at how much Jalen Brunson I was getting, especially on FanDuel. So I do think that he makes for a pretty decent GPP play. I was getting to a little bit of Josh Hart as well, but this was before the Giannis news, so Hart might lose a little bit of that value, he might not be as strong of a play because we're going to want to be playing Portis in that forward spot. So I would stick with Brunson though. I would probably get to at least match the field with Brunson. Jalen Suggs is out now, so that's a piece of news too.
There you go. Another more value that opens up. I'm going to avoid that Orlando stuff. And for what it's worth, I had said I was lock buttoning Hawkes before. But I took it out. I went 54% Hawkes. So I'm still getting a lot. I'm not locking him anymore just because we do have so much strong value on this slate. So I did not hit the lock button on Hawkes. I switched things up a little bit there. Let's go over to the next game. Sorry, I'm trying to juggle a few too many things at once here. Don't even have my new set of lineups in yet, but we got lots of time. Golden State and Minnesota. I don't know, man. Can you just hit the X button on this game?
I don't hate Mike Conley in large field. I don't hate Rudy Gobert either at 6,300. I would X button Golden State. I don't have any interest in them at all. Even if Kuminga starts, and I think Draymond's questionable, so even doesn't really matter. I'm out on Golden State. I would maybe get small pinches of Minnesota, Conley, perhaps, and Gobert, but I think that would be about it for me.
Yeah, like Conley's cheap, but I just think there are guys with way better ceilings on this slate. McDaniels on FanDuel has some steal block upside. Edwards or Curry can get hot any game and get there, but not really for me in this game. But the next one is where we got some fireworks. Let me refresh here, see if we got the projections with Giannis out. We got the Washington Wizards at the Milwaukee Bucks. Much smaller total than there was earlier in the day, but the big news is no Giannis Antetokounmpo. Brook Lopez is Bobby Portis is way too cheap on FanDuel. We're just hitting the lock button there for sure. Chris Middleton is still projecting insanely well despite limited minutes. Brook Lopez also projecting well as also. These cheaper guys, nothing too crazy. They're not projecting too crazy. I don't think there's anybody we got to go out of our way to prioritize. What are you going to do with Milwaukee now that Giannis Antetokounmpo is out?
Yeah, so we have DeLon Wright projected to start. Probably not going to do anything with that. It's really just going to be Portis and Middleton, I think. And then, like I said before, I think Gary Trent is okay. Taurean Prince is projecting well. That scares me a little bit. Don't think I'm going to click on that, but I certainly can't blame people if they want to. He's very, very cheap. So the primary pieces, though, are absolutely Portis, Middleton, and then I think Brook Lopez is fine, but I'm probably going to find a better center to play.
Yeah, I want to absolutely load up on these guys tonight. Like I said, I'm lock buttoning Portis. He's taken the spot of Hawkes for me on that lock button territory. Just going to get to about 50% of him now. For what it's worth, they're all cheaper on DraftKings than they are on FanDuel. So I would say Trent, Wright, Prince and Andre Jackson Jr., all viable. I would not want to play more than one of them in a lineup, though. I think if you're getting to one, you're getting to only one of those guys today. I have 25% Lopez and then 100% Portis. My next highest owned buck is, 1% Gary Trent Jr. Really not getting to any of these guys at all. Interesting. I guess you don't need to when you're locking in a guy like Scottie Pippen, and without Giannis, there's not all that many people that you need to spend up for very much. What about the Washington side? We mentioned maybe liking guys like Jordan Poole a little bit better. Bilal Coulibaly has been playing really good basketball lately. I think those two are the only ones I'm interested in on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, you can throw in Sarr as well because he's cheaper.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the exact same thing. Sarr on DK, I think, is much more playable now. So, but I don't mind getting to Jordan Poole. But really, I would do that only in like a 20 max setting or like a 150 setting.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing too. I did bump up my Poole exposure after we got it late lack of Giannis news. Same with Coulibaly. And then I have a piece of Sarr on DraftKings, but like I always love playing some Jonas Valanciunas. I don't think I can get there tonight. This does not feel like a Jonas Valanciunas night. Boston at Chicago. Boston sneakily has not sneakily because Chicago's the best matchup and Boston's the best team in the league, but one of the best spots you can get Boston here in Chicago, except for the fact that they're fully healthy outside of Sam Hauser. 126 highest total on the slate. Nobody's picking up any ownership outside of 10% for White and Porzingis. What are you going to do with the Boston Celtics tonight?
I think that this is a pretty interesting GPP spot. I mean, they do have a 126 total, and they're not going to be played. So looks like Hawkes is not starting. So
all right, maybe I want to drop my Hawkes exposure from 50% even further now.
It's Hero, Smith, Robinson, Jovic, Bam. So Highsmith isn't starting either.
Drew Smith and Nikola Jovic in that starting lineup. I don't think I want to get to Drew Smith as he has been priced up a little bit on both sites. We were not projecting him to start, though, and he was still projecting for 28 minutes. So that is interesting. Maybe I will throw Drew Smith in the pool, and then see if I get to him a little bit. But if I don't, then I don't even care. Bump Hawkes' minutes down a little bit to 25 as opposed to 30 plus like it was. And then I'm going to bump Nikola Jovic's minute up from 22 to 25 a little bit. There we go. Awesome. Chicago. They're without Josh Giddey, but it's a really tough matchup. You going to play any of them?
Oh, I do want to just finish Boston really quick. They nobody's going to play this team at all. They have a 126 total. We had somebody asking in the chat about Tatum. I think Tatum is a really interesting play. So I think if this game can stay close, that's the big issue, right? Can this game even stay close? I think if it does stay close, I think Tatum will be an absolute smash. So if I got to he's projected for around 5%. If I got to maybe 2 of him in a 20 max setting, get 10% of him, I think that's fine. It's really, really easy to get overweight Tatum tonight, and I think he's in a fantastic spot. So he's somebody that I would consider in a large field GPP, especially now with no Giannis. We have money to spend up on in this forward spot. So I think Tatum's super interesting in GPPs.
Moses Moody ruled out. We don't care about that. By bumping down my Jaime Jaquez exposure, I was able to get the 1 to 2% of all the random cheap guys that I wanted, like Vic Krejci, Gary Trent, DeLon Wright, Taurean Prince, Andre Jackson Jr., as opposed to 0% of them like I have before. I have 1 to 2% of all of them now by dropping that Jaquez exposure. So that feels right because I don't know which one, but one of those guys could probably outscore Jaquez tonight, even if he is going to be chalky anymore. He definitely may not be now that he is not starting. Next game up. Oh yeah, Chicago. Anybody of interest on Chicago for you?
Not really. I mean, it's a really, really tough spot. Like I know that the Bulls did just beat the Celtics, I think, last time they played, but I don't really have that much interest at all. I think Vucevic is too expensive. I think it's a pretty tough spot for Io and Kobe White. So I think I'd pass on Chicago.
Yeah, I am getting to a little bit because I am playing 150, but just like 1 or 2% White, then a little bit more Zach LaVine and Vucevic. Even with Giddey out, it's still their 3 highest usage guys in the lineup. So it's kind of tough to know which one's going to have a day if one of them does stand out from the other 3. Philadelphia and Cleveland. We already talked about that one. Sorry, I just realized Boston and Chicago we were supposed to hit earlier, but it's on a different it's in a different order on Lineup HQ from FanDuel and DraftKings than it on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings. Portland and San Antonio is the next one. This has a pretty high total, but I think there are only 4 players in this entire game that I would consider putting in my pool.
So those 4 would be Wemby.
Yeah. I have 20% Wemby for what it's worth. I got a lot of Wemby.
Yeah. Oh, you have 20%?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a really tremendous spot for Wemby. So Sixers are optimistic Paul George will play. So that game for me is like complete X out now.
Yeah.
So Wemby, Vassell. Do you have any Ayton?
I have a little bit. Let's see here. I have 3% DeAndre Ayton. 3% Anthony Simons.
Okay, yep.
8% Devin Vassell. 19% Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, I mean it is a fantastic spot for Wemby, so I really don't hate that at all. A lot of builds that we were getting to on FanDuel, you could pay up for Wemby. You're basically you were supposed to pay up for Giannis. Now we could just pay up for Wemby at power forward or center. So you could just drop down and play Wemby. It's very, very easy to do. There's some really, really strong forwards on the slate though, for FanDuel purposes. And then he's center only on DK at 10-9. I mean, this game should stay relatively close, so I really don't mind if he's going to be that low on DK. I really like that play.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to get higher now that Giannis is out. Like, I'm sure a lot of that Giannis exposure is going to be going to Antetokounmpo. Or sorry, is going to be going to Wembanyama, but probably not that much. Like, I still think, I'm assuming I'll be over the field to him with the 20% today. On them, Devin Vassell, I think is fine as well. Hey, that's a nice little rhyme. Clippers, Mavs. Luka's out, so we should like it, right? But Kyrie Irving has just not performed all that well this year with or without Luka, but he is going fairly low owned in a tough matchup. Harden was playing absolutely bonkers earlier in the year. He has calmed down more recently. I think Ivica Zubac is the guy that I'm most interested in. He's been playing some really good basketball. Lively, I think, is okay. PJ, I think, is okay, but not that enticing of a game.
Yeah, definitely not that enticing of a game. I played Zubac last time these two teams played. He was like 3%, and he went. He had a really, really good game. Unfortunately, the rest of my team was terrible. I don't mind going back to him at all. I don't know if he's really going to be north of 15% owned. But even if he is, I think he's in a fantastic spot. So I wouldn't mind going back to Zubac. That would be the only Clipper I have interest in. And then on the other side of the game, it's weird not wanting to get to a bunch of Mavericks with no Luka. But I think Kyrie is just, this is a pretty tough matchup. I think if I were to play one of these Mavericks values, it would be Grimes. But we already have such amazing cheap value. It's really not that necessary.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I have a little bit of Grimes, but a little bit of PJ Washington, touch of Derek Lively, A little bit of Kyrie and Harden, and then Zubats is going to be my highest owned guy here by a fairly wide margin. Final game on the slate. We got Detroit, we got Phoenix. Cade Cunningham to me is a very interesting, super duper low owned play today. We have the salary to get there. I don't want anybody else on Detroit, but the Phoenix side of things, that's where things are very interesting because we have Devin Booker out tonight.
Yeah, Kevin Durant is rating out extremely well on both DK and FanDuel. Was getting a lot to him of him in Sims and in Optimals. So I have not run them since we got the Giannis news, though. But I would imagine that he still rates out really well. So Durant is a top play for me. But I don't know. I think that would really be it for me in terms of the Phoenix side. Who else? Do you like anybody else from Phoenix, DJ?
Not really. Bradley Beal, Tyus Jones, I'm having the pool. I am interested in getting into them a little bit, but Bradley Beal maybe even more so on FanDuel where he's cheaper. But Durant is the guy that I really want to get to a lot here.
Yeah, Durant really is an extremely strong play tonight.
All right, let's go position by position here and finalize some of the cash game plays that we might want to go to, as well as our favorite tournament pivots. But I know the chat likes to get themselves a nice cash core, so we'll switch. We'll focus on that and touch on some tournament pivots as well. All right, there we go. Point guard position, DraftKings. Who is priority one after Scottie Pippen? Like, I guess you don't have to play a second one, but it's Scottie Pippen who you're playing at point guard on DraftKings. Sorry.
Yeah, 100. Both sites really. You're playing Scottie Pippen Jr., but you're absolutely locking in Scottie Pippen on DK at 3,600. I mean, it's almost like salary has become not a thing now because we have so much like amazing value. Like Bobby Portis is just so cheap. Pippen's so cheap. But yeah, I do think that Jalen Brunson is a really strong tournament play. He rates out really well in Sims. He's a positive RG value. So I do like Jalen Brunson quite a bit. We're still waiting on this Marcus Smart news. He's still questionable. But I think Tyler Hero would be a strong tournament play as well. We already talked about Dyson Daniels, but I really like him at 6,200. I think Derek White is another one. Point guard, shooting guard is going to be really low owned. Again, we talked about that huge team total. So I do like Derek White a little bit in GPPs. And I don't mind your Anthony Simons call. So I don't mind him at 6,600.
Mark Andrews just scored a touchdown, and I really wish that Dalton Schultz didn't have himself such a day today, because otherwise my Lamar Jackson, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews double tight end stack would be looking extra good right now. But we'll see. It's still popping a little bit. No Tank Dell or Xavier Worthy might hold it back, but it's still looking like a pretty nice little team here. I have such a weird exposure at the point guard position on DK. My highest owned player is 100% Scottie Pippen. Number 2 is 59% Dyson Daniels. Number 3 is 13% Jordan Poole. So big drops between those 3 tiers. What about the shooting guard position? Who do you like today? Who's the cash game play on FanDuel and DK?
So the cash game play is probably
Bogdanovich.
Bogdanovich, or you play Chris Middleton. You can play both of them, shooting guard, small forward, but one of those two guys is going to be in your cash games, or both of them are going to be your cash games. Doesn't matter where you play them. They're both so cheap and in really good spots. I think if you're looking for a little bit of a GPP pivot, Devin Vassell at 5,400, I think would be a good play. I really like Jordan Clarkson tonight at 53. So I think he's a real strong pivot off of Chris Middleton. I mean, we're projecting Middleton for how many minutes do we give him?
24.
24. Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to have to do a lot. And I mean, I'm sure he can put up a lot in 24 minutes, but I mean, there's a possibility that if he starts out slowly, guys like Vassell and Clarkson can beat him at a fraction of the ownership. So I really like those two guys for larger field GPPs.
All right, small forward.
Yep. So same thing. You're
Another
playing
position,
middle.
another hawk.
Right. Yeah. Definitely gonna be playing DeAndre Hunter in cash games. You're probably playing him at power forward, but you could play him at small forward. Same thing with Vassell, a really strong pivot. Trying to think, maybe Mikal Bridges at 5,900, right around that same price tag. He should be playing big minutes, so I think he's fine. I don't mind Cameron Johnson at 7,300. I think he's an okay play. I'm pretty much out on Hawkes now. Did you X him out, or do you still have some of Hawk? Oh, and I'm sorry, Desmond Bain is another shooting guard small forward that I like quite a bit in the spot. So Desmond Bain, I think, is a really strong GPP play. But did you X out Hawkes, or are you still getting a little bit?
I'm still getting a little bit, but I did X him out a lot. I still think he could come off the bench and get a ton of usage. So I do have him a little bit, but nowhere near anywhere close to the amount that we had before. Power forward position. Let's see. Is it another? I mean, probably we don't have an updated for Giannis yet, but I would assume you're definitely playing them on DK Cash. I'd assume Bobby Portis, you're still playing FanDuel Cash too.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go. There's the update. 66% optimal rate for Bobby Portis.
I honestly thought it might be higher. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. So, yeah, I mean, you're definitely playing Bobby Portis today in cash games. You should probably just be playing him everywhere on all sites. So, and then Kevin Durant in the forward spot. Durant's also center eligible on DK, so he might be more valuable today at center, which is a really weird thing to say. But Durant at center, I think, is a pretty strong play as well. But yeah, I mean, power forward just Portis, Hunter, Jalen Johnson. I would put Durant at center and not even include him as a power forward, and then maybe Taurean Prince, but I don't really love that much.
Yeah, Portis, Hunter, Triple J, Kevin Durant. That's definitely the four guys and then Jalen Johnson as well. Those would be the five that stand far and above away everybody else for me at the position. Center, you can play Bobby here. You can play Triple J here, Durant here, just like you said. Outside of them, I think Zubats and Lopez, as well as Victor Wembanyama, who's only center eligible on DK. Those are probably both of our three favorite tournament pivots. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much I agree with all that. Did we talk about John Collins? Because I think he's okay as well. I think John Collins is okay as well as a pivot, but nobody that I would be like actively seeking to get. So, but I do think if you landed on somebody like John Collins, I think that would be okay at 7,100.
All right, let's start going to some questions here. I'll go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. I'll be going to the YouTube chat second. We're about 10 minutes until lock, so smash that like button. Get your questions in. They can be about dinner. They can be about the movies. They can be about basketball, football. I saw J3 even asking Tim about his favorite NHL stack tonight. So get your questions in. First up, favorite low-owned GPP spend on FanDuel and in SimLabs. How do you estimate the size of your contest size? Like, would 20,000 be small or large? 20,000 would be large. Your small field contest, you're looking at like 100, maybe up to 200 or 300. But as soon as you get up to like 1,000, I would say that's when you're looking at a medium-sized field GPP. Anything over 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 is all going to be large field GPP, in my opinion, into what I would do there. Favorite low on spend up, all the way up for me. It's all the way up for me would be Wemby. Kind of mid-tier spend up would be Jalen Johnson, pardon me. How about you?
Yeah, I don't think Wemby's going to get ownership like too high. So I think Wemby's the top spend up option, low owned, and then Tatum for me would be another one who's going to be very, very low owned.
A lot of questions about Anthony Black, who is now in the starting lineup and projected for 26 fantasy points. He's $5,100 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he's 47, even cheaper. People saying the Sims are liking him. What do you think about Anthony Black today?
I mean, I like Scottie Pippen Jr. a lot more. That's the problem. I think I like Bogdanovich more as well. I obviously like Middleton more. I don't love it. But I mean, if the Sims are liking him, then that's a good thing. You should be following the Sims, but there's people that I like a lot more than Anthony Black.
Is 9,400 too much to leave on the table? Yes, butthole. That's way too much to leave on the table. Cat or Wemby, both of us are on Wemby in that spot. Any Champagne for the Spurs tonight? No Champagne for the Spurs for me. Wemby, power forward or center? Probably power forward, but there's so many players that are both eligible at power forward and center today. I don't think it matters as much as it usually would. This is a super interesting question. I'm not sure where they're playing this type of format, but it's fun anyways. 3 guards, 3 forwards, and 1 center. What's your lineup? Now, we can't give up full lineups regardless of what the format is, but I'll tell you what, we'll give you 2 guards and 2 centers, 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center to use. You got to fill out the last 2 spots. You're using Victor Wembanyama, Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh,
assuming
so it's 2
they can
centers.
use both of them.
It's
assuming
2
one
centers.
of those can be used as a power forward.
Okay.
Kevin Durant. Those are your 2 forwards and 1 center. And your 2 guards. If you want to get sneaky, use Jalen Johnson as your other center. That's, I think, is super sneaky today. That people won't do in a salary cap free one. As your other forward, I mean. Or even like a Bobby Portis. But your guards, I think, is where today gets tough because guard is nowhere near as strong as the forwards positions are. I would probably do Cade and Maxey, maybe.
I would go James Harden and probably Cade.
Cade for sure, but I think the second and third ones are definitely up for whichever one you want there. RIP to baseball legend, stolen base king, Ricky Henderson today. Sad to see that. RIP Ricky Henderson. I know Court IQ says Jalen Johnson and Bogdanovich benefit the most without Trae Young, but what about Dyson Daniels? Yes, we absolutely love Dyson Daniels today. I think he's in a great spot. FanDuel Cash. Brooke Lopez, Tyler Hero, or Jordan Clarkson and Triple J?
The first one.
All right, we got to work here. I'm switching over to Yahoo. We got a Yahoo Cash question. $25 left in the utility. They already have the Sell, Portis, and Hunter. So a $25 Yahoo player already have Portis, the Sell, and Hunter.
Edie maybe, or
you know who projects the best according to our shot quality projections? It's Norman Powell.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is going to be Edie or Norman Powell for me.
Yeah, or Brooke Lopez. I think Brooke Lopez would be totally fine there as well. Pick 2, Tim. Don't know the format, but pick 2. Porzingis, Triple J, Beal, Cam Johnson.
Was Jackson in there? Yeah, so yeah. JJJ, go JJJ, and probably go JJJ and Porzingis.
Does Ricochet benefit without Young? Yeah, everybody benefits without Young because he's the highest usage guy on the team. But Ricochet is still probably going to lose a lot of minutes to Bogdanovic. All right. I think we're caught up on questions, Tim. I think we did it. We got 5 minutes left to lock. Get your lineups in. Get your last minute QQs in. NBA, NHL, NFL, dinner, whatever you want. Get your questions in. I'm going to throw it to Tim for his play of who's going to break the slate tonight so I can mute and quickly cough.
Yeah, we actually have a couple more questions in the YouTube chat. QQ, DK, single entry, pool, or JJJ last piece. I would go JJJ in that scenario. And then another question is Cade or Tatum spend up on FanDuel. My vote would be Tatum. I actually really, really like him. So I think he's a really, really strong play at very, very low ownership. DK GPP $5,200 point guard.
Let's see. What do we got on a DK GPP? For what it's worth, I agree completely on the Triple J one. I would say personally for me, I like Cade Cunningham just a little bit better than Jason Tatum tonight. Florida Man City's playing so much Tyler Herro. $5,200 was a guard or PG. It was a PG. Ugh, I got nobody in the pool for me.
It's a pretty ugly spot for point guard.
Like, I guess the answer is Drew Holiday, but I don't think I'd be playing Drew Holiday in this spot. Maybe Colin Sexton.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a really bad spot right there. I think maybe you go down to Anthony Black and then pay.
Yeah, Anthony Black would be the answer. Yes, Anthony Black would be the answer there for sure. Good call. So DK entry, is there enough value to play both Wemby and Cat?
Yeah, I think so. And the thing I would do with that, Richard, is lock those two into Sims and see what you get, or lock them into optionals and see what you get. Really up to you what you decide is good or bad. But yeah, if you have Sims, which I think you do, I would lock both those guys in and see what you get out of Sims.
All right. Which guard do we like most for the Bucks with Dame and Giannis out? I don't think any of them we really like, but DeJuan Wright is probably my favorite in a GPP. And then like for like a ceiling, but I don't know.
Does Chris Middleton count as the guard? Because
I guess so. Yeah, I'm fading Middleton for what it's worth. I have 0%. I kind of hope he's chalky. I let everybody play the guy who only plays 24 minutes.
He's gonna be pretty popular.
Yeah, like for cash, I think I would be fine with playing him, but I'm not getting to any Chris Middleton tonight in GPPs in my 150 max set. Ravens are starting to run away with things a little bit. I think at least they just got a big touchdown from, or no, it was them who were just interceptions. So the Steelers just got it back. This is staying as close as ever. We're gonna be able to tune out of here just in time to watch that fourth quarter. All right, this is making you work, Tim. $5,300 last piece for the utility in DK NHL cash.
An NHL question? Oh man.
Yeah. $5,300 util. He's already got the Vancouver Wings.
Brock Nelson.
Brock Nelson, there you go. Hunter and Durant or Bogdanovic and Cunningham. Ooh, that's Hunter and Durant for me. I love that.
It's a really good 2v2, but it's Hunter Durant.
Falcons fan 07 wants to know my thoughts on the new Superman trailer. Look, I absolutely loved it. I'm so excited to see it on the big screen tonight because I'm going right after this. I'm going to Sonic 3. And so I'm really excited to go see that Superman trailer on the big screen. It's what Superman should be. It's hopeful. It's Boy Scout Superman in a world is telling him not to be that. And I'm really excited for this movie. I think James Gunn's going to do a really good job with it. Luke Kennard, thumbs up or thumbs down? That's going to be a big old thumbs down for Luke Kennard. But even though it's a thumbs down for Luke Kennard, we still want you to give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Smash that like button. help us battle the YouTube algorithm, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's going to be it for the questions. We are coming up against lock right now. So make sure you get your lineups in. Stay tuned for news because we are still going to be waiting on some starting lineups later in the night. We're still waiting on Paul George, even though he's likely going to be playing. We're going to want a San Antonio starting lineup to see. We're going to want to see Phoenix's without Devin Booker. We're going to want to see Dallas's without Luka. Whatever Milwaukee throws out at us. So make sure you stay tuned for some news. And that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. And we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for some some NFL content. Grinders Live, Tim first thing in the morning, me later on with Chief leading you up right until lock. We don't got to. I was trying to kill time because we don't got a credits for you and I today in the NBA section, Tim. So we're gonna pivot back to the NFL one. Thanks so much for tuning in. We got pick 6 for the Ravens. Wow! Right after somebody said Russell Wilson's gonna blow it, they threw a pick 6 in the chat. So that was pretty funny. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow morning. Good luck tonight, TJ, Tim. Peace out.